so I can adjust it from either side, and when I go to the other side, it of course keeps that same adjustment. The cleat right after that is the traveler that I can put it back and forth depending on how far out I'd want at that particular time. But again, that would be something that I would adjust during a race. Now, I wouldn't adjust that nearly as much as I would the main sheet, but if I got into a sustained puff and I had really dumped the main and I was feathering, eventually I would, and when I say eventually, with a few seconds, I would let the traveler down a little bit and pull my main back in again so that I wasn't over pinching and I was getting my sail the power that it should have. So those are my two controls, and although you can't see it, the third control with regard to our traveler is I can raise and lower this by just a cleat down here right after the trunk. And obviously the purpose of that is if it were to blow up during the race, I could reach in and pull that down maybe an inch or two, or if I were down like that and it became light, I could ease it up. So again, so I can, what I'm always trying to do is keep the boom centered when I can get it, and when I have to let it out, I want to again be blocked as close as I could block to block so I can keep power on my leech. Now we have our boom fang right here that's adjusted by the forward person or the second person if we're just sailing a course with two. That would be something that I might consider bringing back here. I guess I'd like to be able to control the vang, because it just take one less thing for the forward person to worry about. Because I think it's, first of all, it's very easy to over vang an Interlake with the roach that it has. So the power that you need, I don't think you need any more in this, obviously, if you're going to do it in this fashion. And if you were to bring it back here, it would be something comparable to that, because this is so easy. I could actually break the boom relatively easy if I give that really good haunts. But the vang, on the other hand, is very important to be conscious of. I think but we have to be just as careful that we don't over vang as we do vang, because what you want to do, no matter where your sail is, whether you have it completely out or just in on a reach, is again the upper batten should be parallel with the boom, and you have to be very careful on that. And if you have three people, I would assign that just specifically to one person, particularly going off wind, say not dead now but close to it, that they continually watch that, because as the wind goes up and down, obviously you want to vang as much as you can to just get that much more power, but once it eases up, you want to make sure you get the vang off, because it's just like putting brakes on to have too much vang on. Now we have straps all over the place, I guess. We have, this is a droop strap, and the same person could go from a strap that's four-chip to a droop hike, just depending on what they're feeling for at the time. I think the only thing with the droop hike, and I realize a number of people like this, is it seems to me that once you're into that, you're going to be on that, you know, hopefully be in a heavier air, and you're going to be on that tack for a while. It's not something you get in and out of. That's going to a thwart-chip hiking strap. I have a fourth one back here, so when it's really blowing, I can sit pretty far aft, and I know it's not going to come up so high that's going to affect my tiller, but I think it's important, particularly for me, because it should be the easiest for me to get out. The person on the spinnaker, or even the person playing the jib, is going to have so much to do where the main's not going to be that much of a difficulty for me, and I'll be hiking out back this way. So I think it's important to have a strap back here. I have my spinnaker halyard on the port side of the trunk, and if I were to redo that, if I ever put on another halyard, I would put it on the starboard side. I think this is the way it was standard for a while, but I think I would much rather have that on the starboard side, because normally if you're taking marks to port, you'd want it on your starboard side, and then when you drop it, you'd want it on your port side. It's just a little bit unhandy to reach down like I do. I normally raise the spinnaker. I'm usually on the halyard. And again, I get used to that because a lot of times I just sail with two. I mean, two of us, counting myself, of course. But if I have three, then I let the middle person, usually I'll let them take that on and off. We have a little cheating hiking arrangement here for the middle crew if they want to have it. Just so, again, it can't go above deck, and I know there's some restrictions on it, but it just gives them a little something to hang on to, because the jib person always has the jib sheet, and of course I have the main sheet. But other than that, I think that's about pretty much the placement of the fittings as we have them. This is not necessary. We went to that originally with the idea we were going to be in and out on that on the tack, but we haven't done that, so that's not necessary. But obviously you need something that's dependable and strong as far as your outhaul is concerned, and so how you do it. But it's got to be, again, someplace that's convenient to get to, and this is always going to be done by the forward crew. This is where we have our jib halyard coming down on the port side of the mast. I think this is exactly where I'd want it. I want to make this as nice and strong, nice and beefy, and I think all boats coming out now have very good goosenecks. This is where my top, and it's 2 to 1, and it's just all I need. I have 2 eyes on the mast only because I'm always concerned about losing one in the middle of a race, and most people, I guess, only have one to put the pole in, but I just don't want to have to worry about that. The topping lift has a shock cord attached to the fitting, so that once the fitting's on the pole, the shock cord is putting tension on the pole to keep it down so it just won't fly up too high. And again, this is something that you have to fine-tune to finally get the right tension on that. But obviously, as the higher the pole goes, the more tension you're putting on that. But just to keep your pole from skying, which can be very disadvantageous if you get caught in a situation, particularly on a reach, where all of a sudden it goes up. That becomes very slow.